Hello, people. I am back. So just a bit of context. I recorded this video, and then I was like, you know what, this video is like an hour long. I'm not gonna edit this down. And I decided, I can re-record it and I can do it better. So that's why I'm re-recording. That's thing number one. Thing number two, this is Hidden Experience video about the Q&A that came out. We're gonna watch it. I have already seen it. As you can see, I disliked it. Now, again, the Q&A was rough, but it was not that bad. And there are times where he will just like kind of lie about what it said. I don't know if that's intentional. We're just going to go over this video as quickly as possible. Basically, I kept pausing and talking too long, so I'm going to basically give myself a timer of 2 minutes every time I pause to talk about it.
You know, when this game was leaked and also when it was announced...
Oh, actually, you know what? I am going to move my webcam over here so you guys can see his face.
General sentiment really wasn't that great.
That is true.
It seemed like the massive boost in sentiment that you typically get when a new game is announced had all but dried up. And to be honest, given the last God knows
I think that's because
years,
the fan base is just kind of toxic,
You know what? Last week, when the reveal started happening, I saw sentiment kind of start to shift. Much to my surprise, it did start to get a little bit more positive again, more so than I thought it would. And how do Halo Studios decide to capitalize on this surprising shift in sentiment, I hear you ask?
Okay, here we go.
Well, they decided to take a leaf out of Campaign Evolved's sound design in some areas and return to their roots by shooting themselves in the foot.
Thing number one, remember that. Remember that he's comparing this. Again, like I said, even I think this Q&A is pretty rough. But I do not think it is shooting yourself in the foot bad. This dude and his followers blow up any single bad thing as nothing. But again, we're gonna go through this and we're gonna talk about it. But I just want to pause there because I want to say, remember that is the bar he's setting, that this is basically dead on arrival in terms of actually what's happened.
Yes, last night they released the first official Q&A about Campaign Evolved. And I genuinely felt like somebody just walked through that door and threw a flashbang in my face, because some of these answers have me legitimately stunned. You know, I think Sideshow Bob may have put it best when
then he has this Simpsons reference.
That I kind of don't even know where to start.
Here we go.
Honest, I don't even know where to start. Oh, I know. Let's start with a stanchion, because to be honest,
here we go.
I actually think this is the funniest answer out of the lot of them. Funny as in, you laugh or you cry.
If you're crying over this, it's kind of crazy.
Has long been one of, if not the most fan-requested new weapon in Halo. They teased us with the snipers using it in Halo Wars 2, then they made it a bait microtransaction sniper skin in Halo Infinite, but here in Campaign Evolved, it seemed as though it was finally going to be added to the game properly.
Hold on.
Granted, it looks a little bit weird.
He can't, even when he's making a video about one thing, he still cannot stop nitpicking the visual design of this game. Stay on target, dude.
Too much like a conventional railgun, but hey, at least it's finally part of the sandbox. Well, psych! We can't use it. Yep, all that focus that it got in the trailers, with them even going as far as giving it its own introduction cutscene because they know how much we've wanted to use it. Well, all of that was quite literally a bait and switch, as per Halo Studios' very own words. Sergeant Johnson's stanchion,
I'm going to skip this part.
will not give a...
So basically, only Johnson will use it. Again, this is a bummer. I think, you know what I mean? This is the thing. You're going to see this a lot. I don't even disagree that this is a upsetting thing. But you will see a lot that as I keep making these videos, that how much it affects me compared to how much it affects a lot of Halo content creators is very different. I think is an absolute bummer that you cannot use the stanchion. I'm going to say stanchion. That sounds better. I think it is a bummer that you can't use it. I'm not that upset. I'm not it's like, oh man, that sucks. And then I move on.
A fan-beloved and highly requested weapon, its own introduction cutscene.
This is not an introduction cutscene, I do want to say that. There is a lot of attention put on this weapon in this cinematic. It's not like an introduction cutscene, it's just Johnson getting prepared for the mission,
Make it as big of a part of the trailer as you did, and you don't let us use it.
That was totally a real reaction, by the way. I'm gonna make this into a GIF and use it for the next 7 years. That was totally a real reaction.
God. Well, Okay, that sucks, but at least we can still use Chief's really cool looking Mark IV variant from Operation Meteorite in the base campaign, right? I mean, after all, Campaign Evolved is in the exact same engine as Operation Meteorite. Meteorite is essentially just an additional 3 levels added
I like how
on
it says
top of the base
essentially,
campaign,
like that's exactly what it is, dude. It's not like it's a separate executable. It's in the same game.
not like any technical barrier between the two. After all the weapons for Meteorite can be used in the base campaign, so surely the armor can as well. So at least we can run through Halo 1's campaign in some badass looking Mark IV armor to ease our pain. Except nope! No, we can't. We love the Mark IV armor too, so we understand.
Okay, here we go. So yeah, you can only use it in the Meteorite missions. I think this is also, again, a valid criticism because it's like, it's not, like, again, I'm not going to cancel my pre-order over this, right? That's a bit silly. But it's like, it's literally just give me a button to toggle it. That's all, you know what I mean? It cannot take a significant amount of developing time to make me be able to use this armor in the campaign. You know what I mean? It's a missed opportunity. I don't see, like, they could literally just add this in, like, a future update, like, literally less than a week after launch. It would not take long at all to add this.
What the fuck are we doing? So you're telling me that this absolute live service battle pass art style slop...
Okay, recall that, because that's going to become important later, where he brings up that live service is slop. Which, I mean, it is. He's not wrong.
Fine in the base Halo 1 remake campaign, but they draw the line in the sand at getting to use the Mark IV...
I do also want to pause here again. I like how they say they draw the line in the sand. Like, yes, this is a bummer, but I do not think they went out of their way to make sure you couldn't use this in the campaign. I just don't think they implemented it. I don't know why they wouldn't have, but I don't think they were like, no. Like, I don't think there was this big thing at the studio where they just, like, were adamantly against it. That's just silly.
You know, actually looks like it belongs in Halo. That? Nope, we can't use that. I say this
because Bungie Cosmetics always looks like they were in Halo.
Mark IV shouldn't be
you know, none of them ever looked out of place.
Engine, same chief biped that just works.
No, there's no reason for it to not be available. That is just silly.
Campaign. Give me one.
Again, he's bitching and moaning, which I don't like. But at the end of the day, if you just strip down all of the complaining he's doing, he's still right here. I agree. There's no reason for us to not be able to use this in the base campaign.
Reason why completing Operation Meteorite on Legendary shouldn't.
So I'm just going to talk about that for a bit.
Makes me very concerned for the prospect of any other Legendary or achievement-based unlocks in the game, because having...
that's another interesting thing. He will talk about that a bit, about... well, just actually right here says, oh, I'm worried about the other achievements. Dude, they published the achievement list. You can see what achievements exist right now.
The legendary unlock was just the easiest layup of all time. Orion armor unlocked for finishing the main campaign on legendary? Yeah, I doubt it.
I like how he says that. Yeah, I doubt it. Why, man, I doubt this thing that is not in this video game is going to be in this video game. Well, you're correct there.
But don't worry, the armor situation only gets more perplexing from here on out, somehow. So you pre-order the whatever edition of the game and you get all that nonsense live service art style armor. Fine, whatever. Taste.
Again, remember the live service part.
Some people will like these
now,
armors.
Keep up with this. This is good. This is good stuff.
Interesting to see weird armors like these in the cutscenes. To ensure that the narrative remains as faithful to the original game as possible, the personalized customization options you choose will not show up.
Okay, I'm gonna put up a timer.
Oh, so now we want to be faithful. Okay, so we didn't want to be faithful when it came to
I'm gonna pause here.
Adding sprint and aim down sights to Halo 1's gameplay.
Remember that he is complaining that they added new features to a remake. I just want to bring that up. And again, remember that he is also complaining for no reason. Let me remind you guys of something. At this point in time, he is complaining about being able to aim down sights in a shooter game and being able to sprint. Okay, you know what? That's weird. That's a bit like you're like actually like a fucking dinosaur if you think that's a bad thing. You can literally disable all of these things in this game. There are skulls and there are options in the settings that disable the ability to sprint. There's literally a button in the settings, I believe, if what we were told 7 months ago was true, to disable sprints. And there are skulls to literally deactivate all of this. But you know what? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They did not need to add all of this to pander to you because, you know, put up that Doom tweet, you control the buttons you press. You know, he admitted in the first gameplay video he did, where he said he got to play the demo, that he felt like the maps were not changed in size to make up for sprint. He said that they played the same and that they were not made any larger to account for sprint. So that means that, again, if you don't want to aim down the sights and don't want to sprint, well, yeah, you could use the skulls they give you. In fact, that's a nice thing. You know, that's actually I would be very grateful if I was him. Or you could just not press the buttons. I know, it's crazy.
And we didn't want to be faithful when it came to remaking the Halo 1 aesthetic for the environments, the enemies, and the weapons in...
Oh, sorry.
You know, the Halo 1 remake.
This guy thinks that remakes are, like, the exact same art style as the original. I cannot name a single remake off the top of my head. Well, actually, I can name one. The only remake, I think, that follows the original art style would probably be the Dead Space one that we got, like, 2 years back or so, right? That's it. Okay? That is the only one. Every single remake I have ever seen or played or whatever, the only other one I can think of is the Thousand Year Door. You know, that's a ground up remake, and it does follow the original show. That's literally the only two I can think of, especially with 3D games. You know, Resident Evil remakes, none of them have the original art style. Like, it's not something you see a lot. Resident Evil, oh geez, let me think now. Resident Evil, what other remakes? Have you been getting a lot of AAA remakes recently? Dead Space, Resident Evil. Oh, geez, I can't think of anything else, but I'll put up some on screen as I'm editing this video that are like very acclaimed remakes that do not follow the art style that we've gone recently.
But we do want to be faithful when it comes to not having different armor optionally show up in cutscenes. Now, of course, I'm only joking here. Remaining faithful is just an excuse. The real reason for this is that the cutscenes are pre-rendered.
And again, he's also wrong there. These are also all rendered in Unreal Engine, so they could literally just drag and drop the different sheath models and textures and lighting and bump maps and all that, and then just re-render them. That's not an excuse. They could really do that if they just wanted to. In my opinion, my guess is that they're so terrified of the Halo fanbase hating them that they don't want to have these shitty-looking cosmetics be in the cutscenes.
Essentially just glorified videos, so they
Oh yeah, glorified videos. That's a good one. I'm gonna put up a clip I recorded earlier. Hey guys, what's up? I'm watching these glorified videos here.
How much time
you know,
left?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, it's just glorified videos. You know, they don't look very good, do they? This is glorified videos. So disappointing. This looks so ugly, man. Why can't these be in game, man? God, man. Fucking glorified videos, man.
Nor influence the gameplay in any way. This is why the lighting in some of the cutscenes looks
We're gonna pass by this part. Oh, here we go. Hold on.
Now, I actually don't really care about this all that much. I'm not bothered.
He doesn't care about it. I don't really care that much. And he complained about it for a minute straight.
Showing up on cutscenes, but on the contrary, this next one frankly infuriates me. So one of the staples of modern campaign-owned games is, of course, the photo mode. These tools are extremely powerful marketing tools.
Yeah, I like photo modes.
Genuinely awesome features.
They are awesome features.
Capture really awesome moments from their favorite games. Especially games like, say, Death Stranding, or hell, even Campaign Evolved, that really push the graphics needle. For games that prioritize great graphics, photo modes are a must.
I would never say they're a must. I love photo modes. That's really a Nintendo thing. Nintendo really popularized doing it. The first game I played that did it was Forza Horizon 2, but I do think Nintendo adding one in like literally every game did like push its popularity a lot, because it's like, oh yeah, this actually isn't that hard to do. You know, you have a lot of veteran devs that can just do that.
Players the power to
it's not a must, man. It's not a must.
Way. And well, luckily, since about 2007, Halo's had its very own version of photo mode, one that's actually deeper, theater.
Tamara, Izzy, and Emma. They respond to emails.
I really need to get an ad blocker.
To explain what theater mode is.
Yeah,
we all know what it is.
I love theater. Everyone loves theater.
And we all know how crucial it was in growing.
Okay, he's not wrong.
Guess what,
he's not wrong.
Campaign Evolved will feature neither a photo mode nor campaign theater.
Again, this is another bummer thing. Oh man, that sucks. And then we move on. You feel me? I love theater mode. My main guess for this is that since for the first time in Halo history, the engine handling the gameplay and physics is not the same one handling the graphics and lighting and all that, that it's harder to implement. But in their response, they said there's no plan to, so it almost sounds like they didn't even attempt to.
The blind skull, which
I'm gonna skip this. He's just reading the response. Again, I do think like it sucks, but it's not like this game is dead on arrival, right?
This game is on the Halo Reach engine, the last game to feature campaign theater, mind you. But bringing it back? Don't be silly. In the era of photo modes, with the legacy that Halo has with cameras to make do with blind and acrophobia, I mean, hell, gaming content creation was practically started by Halo 3, and that was all.
I'm not sure about that, but I will say that the one thing he does have a point on here is that Halo and very early internet videos and spreading content, especially like clips of gameplay and stuff, that really did start with Halo a lot because of the ability to share clips with friends and theater mode. And like the very early internet days, like with Machinima 2, there was something you can do in theater mode that you can't do just in like recording or like being a monitor and flying around in the gameplay. So he's not wrong about that. But again, I'm not sure if it pioneered gaming. I'm not saying that he's wrong, but I feel like it was a bit more nuanced than that. But when he gets to like the community growing, he's not wrong. The Halo community really did blow up due to the internet.
Thanks to theater mode. But clearly, Halo Studios don't agree.
I like that. They don't, just because they don't add something doesn't mean they hate it, you know? Or they dislike it.
So, to the surprise
here we
of
go.
nobody, after they were removed in Halo Infinite, Assassinations will also not be making a return.
Yes, they did announce this. But again, you'll see this is where he says this. He complains about the game not being faithful. But you'll see that he complains about this in different ways. My opinion is that he wants the game to be faithful by his standards. He doesn't want the game to be completely faithful. Because here he's complaining about Assassinations not being in the game. Assassinations were not in Halo Combat Evolved. And again, there's no multiplayer, so there's no reason to have them for them to spend a long time animating a Spartan killing another Spartan. These would just be the assassinations you'd pull off on enemies, on the Covenant, right? And yeah, it is a bit of a bummer that they're gone, but I could do with or without, because again, they weren't in Combat Evolved, you know? I'm not that bummed out by it because it's like, you know, it doesn't really fit the kind of the gameplay loop of Combat Evolved as well as I think it does Reach. And you know, it's also just a very developed feature to have. And you know, I love Assassinations, but again, it's like I don't really need them, you know? So I think it sucks that they're gone, but you know.
And frankly, I never expected this. I think they're either entirely gone from Halo until like 2045 when they release the Halo Reach remake.
There's not going to be a Halo Reach remake. I guarantee you they will only remake the first trilogy.
Or, frankly, maybe just gone for good now. It wouldn't surprise me if either of those eventualities came to pass. I mean, to be quite honest, I wouldn't even be surprised if they got rid of them in a Reach remake.
Why? There's not going to be a Reach remake. There's never been any rumors about that.
Perfectly real. I'm fully expecting.
Okay, and remember this. He thinks that they are going to remove features from future remakes. Watch this.
Just to delete dual wielding from the Halo.
He thinks they're going to remove dual wielding from Halo 2 because they would not add a Reach mechanic into a Halo Combat Evolved remake. So, since they will not add a Reach mechanic to a Halo Combat Evolved remake, by his logic, that also means that they will remove a Halo 2 mechanic from a Halo 2 remake. Not a lot of critical thinking going on upstairs.
Like, if they announced that tomorrow and it had no dual wielding, I would not be... My face would be like this.
He would make a goofy thumbnail of him crying or something like he did this one.
That would be my reaction. Not, no way, or, wow, I'm surprised.
He really thinks they're going to remove a major gameplay mechanic from a Halo 2 remake. That's like if they removed the ability to shoot guns in CE, you know? That's like part of Halo 2 Sandbox. They wouldn't just remove that. But, you know, because there's no assassinations in a Combat Evolved remake, well, obviously that means that they wouldn't have Halo 2 mechanics in a Halo 2 remake. Just literally makes no sense, you know? I don't know if this dude can do simple addition because, like, literally things are not adding up by his own logic.
Anyway, given that this game is, once again, campaign only, just like, gee, I don't know, Halo 3 ODST, for example, you'd think that, like ODST, a great and relatively simple addition to aid in replayability would be Firefight.
I was going to make a video about this. I was going to make a video about how I thought Firefight would be the perfect addition to this game. So this one, for me, is definitely like a missed opportunity. I was super excited at the prospect of Firefight. So they did say they're not going to add Firefight. That's pretty upsetting. I have to admit, that's probably the thing I'm the most upset about from this whole QnA.
A long-beloved
with all the new weapons and stuff
that is built almost entirely off campaign assets. Given other similar
you see that he do this a lot. He brings up Resident Evil a lot to compare, which is like, why are you comparing like a Capcom franchise that has a very different release schedule, development cycle, all of that to Halo, you know? I'm saying you can't, but like he's not doing it in a way that feels like it actually makes sense, other than just to take shots at Halo.
Like Firefight would be a
I agree.
Addition to this
I can even think of some maps that they could use.
Fear not, this game does not, nor will ever have Firefight. Yep, they confirmed that there are no plans to.
I mean, again,
expand
I think
the game
that
with
sucks.
continued content or features.
Now, again, remember earlier how he called everything live service slop, and you notice how the part of the quote he doesn't say out loud is that they don't want to make the game live service. So again, he doesn't like live service games, but he doesn't give them any ounce of credibility for saying they don't want to make it live service. Like, you gotta be like, okay, I can respect that they at least don't want to do that. Now, this only talks about the negative stuff.
Point. So this game really is going to be a launch and done kind of
I
game.
kind of miss.
Who is the real
Oh my god,
Michaels?
I need a fucking ad blocker so bad.
It's Saturday night.
Anyways,
He's given
I kind of miss when games were like launched and done, other than like bug fixes. I think like that's kind of ideal for a game like this.
Hell, even modern
You see what I
Resident
mean? He
Evil
brings
games
up
don't
Resident
do that.
Evil a
They
lot.
drop DLCs, they drop
If they
mercenary
release
mode,
paid DLC, this same guy would like complain about it for 5 hours and say that it should have been free. I guarantee you.
drop
I
even more
guarantee you.
post-launch content just to try and keep interest ticking over until the next game. But I guess
Interest
Halo
ticking
didn't
over?
get
Yeah, dude, because Halo fans famously forget about Halo the second a new Halo game doesn't come out.
the memo. You know, little tangent, but this all reminds me.
Okay, I'm gonna skip this. He just basically says, remember when I was younger and I complained about Halo Infinite not having dual wielding, which why would it be in Halo Infinite? It wasn't in Halo 4 or 5. Why would you assume that they'd add it back for that game? And then the no playable elites thing, it's like, who cares, man? Like, I like playable elites. Again, not a deal breaker.
The issue isn't even the timing of when they're announcing these omissions. The problem is that 15 years into post-Bungie Halo, absolutely absurd omissions like this are still being made. I'm sorry, right, but explain to me how the fuck
There you
Bungie
go.
can launch
This is a good
Halo
one.
3 in 2007 with campaign, with offline and online co-op.
You can still play co-op offline, by the way.
Forge, available offline. Custom
Well, I
games,
guess,
available offline.
yeah, you could.
Campaign, multiplayer, custom games, and Forge compatible theatre mode, available offline, a progression system, campaign and multiplayer based armor unlocks, available offline, campaign scoring, campaign timing, and a fully fledged in-game file browser and download system. And all less than 3 years after Halo 2 released. But Halo Studios can't even launch a campaign-only remake 5 years after the last Halo game.
Remember, he is comparing Halo 3, a full-priced game that would run you like $80 now, I think, if the MSRP was adjusted for inflation, to a $50 game. If this game was $70 and it was missing these features, I'd be a lot more upset. I'd actually probably low-key agree with him. But he is complaining about a $50 ground-up remake with new prequel missions, new weapons, all this other great, fantastic quality of life changes, and all these replayability factors with campaign remix, all this stuff, to not having this, you know? And the other interesting thing is he says that, you know, well, they released Halo 3 with all these features. Well, you notice how he'll compare one game to this one, and then he'll switch out what game he's comparing it to say why it's bad and why Bungie's better. Well, let's undo that. Let's actually compare Halo 3 ODST to this game. So this game is $50. It's a campaign-only game. ODST was full price. And you might say, oh, well, they had firefight and yeah, whatever. Well, obviously, Bungie themselves did not feel that it was a good enough package because ODST was full price, but you got a separate disc that contained the Halo 3 multiplayer. So again, even if you can say all you want about, oh, well, look how complete this like full price game was versus this $50 game. Well, let's go back. Let's see. Halo 3 ODST was full price, and obviously Bungie thought the package wasn't good enough because you also got Halo 3 multiplayer for free, right? So this idea that, okay, here's why it's bad if you compare it to this, but when I say why this is bad, I need to switch games because it's different, you know? He acts like Bungie just always hits and has never ever made a mistake or anything, but he has to change games to actually try to spin that yarn, spin that narrative.
They can't launch that with offline co-op, with theatre mode, with assassinations, and with firefight.
I love the fake reactions. They're my favorite.
Words fail me. Okay,
You
let's
know
take a
this
little
thing
break
is so
from
heavily
the
scripted.
missions for a second to take a look at some things that you need to play campaign.
Here we go.
forward.
This is pretty interesting. This is the first time in this video he will say something that is objectively false.
And honestly, this stuff is as stupid as not having theatre mode. So one of the returning features that they've championed for Campaign Evolved is split screen. I mean, after all, couch co-op was
Yeah,
one of
that's
the
how
main
I grew up
factors
playing
in
Halo.
Halo's explosive growth with Halo 1, so it's only right. Well, in classic modern gaming
Except
fashion,
if it's
there are
Resident
some
Evil,
frankly
then they're
absurd
good.
requirements needed to
Okay,
play
let's see.
split screen. So firstly, the guest system is gone. So that means that no longer can a buddy just come over, turn on a controller, and start playing the game with you. No, 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 no. On every platform, that buddy needs their own Xbox Live account linked
There you go.
to
First thing it says wrong. You need a Microsoft account with an Xbox gamer tag. It's exactly what it says in all versions of this QnA. You do not need an Xbox Live account. That is the first thing that he has said that is objectively false. And the response where they talk about this is like literally like 3 half sentences long. How he was able to misread that is honestly, it eludes me. I don't know how you can't read like at most like 50 words, but he managed to.
their own Microsoft account. Yes, even for split screen. But don't worry.
Oh, sorry.
It gets
Go ahead, buddy.
worse. To play online co-op on Xbox, for some reason, you need a Game Pass subscription.
Why is this a problem? This has been the case ever since at least the Series X launch. I can't speak on the Xbox One. I have not touched an Xbox One as much as I have the 360. So if you don't know, basically on every platform except for PC, you actually need to pay for online. It's a very dumb thing, and people have talked about it. This is how it's been for Xbox. Does he think Asha Sharma is going to walk into Halo Studios and give them like a free pass? Like, no, you're the one game you can play online for free. You don't have to pay. That has never been the case. At least as far as modern Xbox goes, you need to pay to play online co-op. So again, he's mad that Xbox is enforcing something on these devs. Like, your Xbox literally just will refuse to go online to do, like, multiplayer stuff if you do not have Game Pass. Because Xbox Live and Xbox Gold has been kind of phased out. So again, apparently he's surprised that the standard that Xbox has set is being adhered to. Like, I'm sure the devs don't want that to be the case, but they can't do anything about that.
PC doesn't even have split screen, so we don't really have anything to talk about there, but the PlayStation loophole is somehow even sillier. So to play split screen...
Yeah, so people have agreed about this. It sounds more like a Sony problem. But this is the one time where it gets this whole thing right. You need to have a PS Plus subscription. Yeah.
Plus subscription, and also to be linked.
And again,
to a
remember,
Microsoft
you can
account.
have your Xbox account on your friend's Xbox. It takes like 3 seconds to make an account, so that's like a non-problem. It's annoying, but like if I want to go over there and spend like 5 hours just grinding Halo, I can just set up an account. I already have one, of course, but like that's a non-issue. It's just more of an annoyance than anything.
So, the long and short is that this game is DRM'd up to the eyeballs, even requiring 2 layers of DRM protection on PlayStation to...
Yeah, it's only DRM on PlayStation, though, which we know about. PlayStation is definitely, like, the most consumer-unfriendly platform. They talked... Remember that whole DRM fiasco a while back this year? So, again, that was always going to be the case for the PlayStation release.
And also apparently has no offline support.
That's not true. You can play the game offline, and you can play it offline to do this. I don't understand why he doesn't seem to understand this. You can log into an Xbox account on a Series X without having to go out of your way to, like, open up a laptop, and you know what I mean? Now, in terms of the guest system, yes, you can't, like, just use 2 guests, but again, I don't think, like, that should... Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you can sign into your Xbox account on your Xbox while it's offline, and you'll just update, like, whatever you did afterwards. If I'm wrong, though, please correct me.
Another instance of gaming...
Everything was better back in his day. Always remember that, kids.
Now, something else they touched on is the issue with Campaign Evolved Collector's Edition.
This is the one thing he gets right. The only thing I agree with, like, basically 100%.
Was not exactly great. Basically,
Yeah, let me go for it, man. Oh my fucking god.
Game day snacks and groceries. Score game day deals for a limited time on Uber Eats.
Here at Terry Bison.
eBay was filled with a ton of pre-orders, all marked up like 3 to 4 times. I saw some near
So did I.
$1,000 for what I think is like a $250 version of the game. Now, a lot of these have since been taken down by community members who have been reporting and flagging the listings, but there are still some that are up.
Yeah.
However, Halo Studios insists that they've
Yeah.
checked with retail
I
partners
agree.
who have told them that there were
I
no
agree.
major issues of
I think it's entirely possible that 30 to 40% of the stock they had of that was scalped. And I've looked recently, I only saw like 5 listings on eBay today. But again, I do think that it's more than that. I think it is
widespread
big.
scalping. And then they also confirm that the collector's edition will
Another
not be
thing is this
restocked.
means that they only stocked a certain amount, and that all the molds and all the stuff they don't have access to anymore. So before he even says whatever bullshit he's about to say, just so you guys know, for them to actually make more collector's editions, by the time they would have enough to put back on sale, the game would be out, basically.
If you missed it, you missed it. Sorry, chump.
That's more of a
Now, at the end
scalper
of the day,
problem.
I don't know how much I agree with the retailers saying that there was
Yeah,
no
I agree.
issue with
I agree.
scalping when there were
Again,
a ton
I
of
agree.
scalp listings, like
Like a
sale
lot
is a
of
sale.
companies don't do proper scalp protection these days.
They don't need around a pretty unfortunate situation. If there's that much demand, genuine demand, I really don't see the logic behind not
Because they're out of units. So like the mold for the Master Chief and the paint and whatever, since those are a limited item thing, they're able to put more resources in it, so it's not like as cheaply made, right? These have probably been sitting in the warehouse for months now, if not like a year, right? And I'm gonna be honest, they don't have access to all that stuff anymore. If they had more, they would do a restock, but they don't. They can't just print things out of thin air. You can look into this stuff if you want. It would really take them a significant amount of time to make more of these units, I believe. I genuinely believe that, just based on my knowledge of how this stuff works.
And then one final omission. This one isn't a big deal, but I think it's a bit of a missed opportunity. They've said that they won't be doing a demo for the game. Now, of course, they never
I wasn't
announced a
expecting
demo
one
for the
either.
game, but
I
it is a
agree.
bit of a missed
Demos are
opportunity
great for the
because
consumer
not only
and
do
for
a lot
the company, because you know you get to try a game and see if you like it, and that can convince you on a sale.
of, again, campaign-only games do demos nowadays, like Resident Evil, for example, does them all the time, but also Halo 1 kind of has a legacy of demos, or demo singular. Of course, it had the rather iconic Silent Cartographer demo back in the day that I think many of us probably played on repeat, at least on PC or on an exhibition disc on Xbox. So not doing that is a bit of a missed opportunity to try and bring in prospective players, but I don't think it's the end of the world, to be honest. You know, that last omission aside, I am genuinely just lost for words at all of this still. They are getting absolutely torched.
They get torched on everything for socials. You remember when they would post like things like happy like Pride, or not Pride, like happy like Disability Month, and people would be like, you guys suck at making games on posts like that. They could literally like say we're giving away free gold and like you have to buy, you know what I mean? Like they just endless complaining, right? Again, this entire thing is lukewarm to me. I mean, it was a rough Q&A. It was not that rough. But remember, like you said at the beginning of the video, this was the equivalent of them shooting themselves in the foot.
Like, this is some real bad PR for the game, I'll be honest. But then again, I guess as General
here we go.
Shepard so eloquently put it,
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
time
You guys
really
remember
is a
when
flat
Halo
circle,
4
eh?
came out, it had all of the exact same problems as this. The second Halo 4 came out, 50 virgins died immediately. The Antichrist,
Yeah.
if you will.
So, let me know your
So that's really
thoughts
it.
on all of this.
My longer video, I was kind of crashing out more because he just has some genuine dog shit takes. This one was a bit more calm and collected. It's a rough thing. It's a rough video. It's not a what the fuck are you doing, pretend to be sad, fake reactions, fake sigh, shoot themselves in the foot level bad. But I thought I'd just do it this way because I was going to react, because in my original video I read it out, the Q&A, and then I reacted to this video. But I just like, I can just talk about all the same things in this video. So that's it for today. I know I've been making a lot of Halo content lately and a lot of negative videos. I don't want to be that channel. I want to make videos about stuff I think is positive or just stuff I think is fun. So yeah, after the game comes out, I might do like I'll do a first impressions video, and then I'll probably be done with Halo content for a while. I should need to get out that direct video. But yeah, as for now, just the endless complaining, man, because you know, a few of these things are really like, wow, that really sucks, or like, that's a bummer, but none of these things are like, I'm canceling my pre-order, but you know, alas, you know.